it has been just this crowd that has been moving in. And so you've seen just the number of people at the Capitol grow. I mean, before noon, we saw a few thousand. Now it's safe to say there are most definitely thousands of people. I mean, looking around, I would say that there might be around 10,000 folks. And I talked with one woman who says this rally feels very different from some of the rallies or from some of the protests that we have seen during Operation Metro Surge, that she and her group came out here to feel a little bit of catharsis, a little bit of levity, a little bit of togetherness, and a little bit of hope too. That's something that we heard from a lot of folks, just saying that they want to come here to feel hope. Now, security is here. There are a number of law enforcement agencies that are surrounding the area, that have eyes on the area. We heard from St. Paul Police that there are 300 law enforcement that are going to be at the Capitol. Some are from Ramsey County. You have sheriff here, you have Capitol Police. You have a lot of folks that have been coordinating with one another to make sure people will be safe. There's also medical attention here if folks need help. St. Paul Police said the number one thing that they're concerned about is folks falling or maybe rolling an ankle, things like that. So they want to ensure that they have the structure to be able to get into the area and get folks help. But overall, it doesn't seem like there's a need for that kind of attention at the moment. Things are very, very peaceful. That is definitely a thing that those organizers have been stressing, is that they want a peaceful rally here. You hear music behind me, and overall, I would say that the atmosphere of the event matches what that woman hoped it would be, which is just kind of this togetherness, this feeling of hope overall. But ultimately, the reason why people are here is because they are protesting President Trump's policies. And of course, coming out of Operation Metro Surge is something that is on everyone's mind here today, Raya.
And Sammy, you mentioned this, the organizers, I don't know if you can hear me, let me know if you can't, but we have heard from these organizers time and time again, their core commitment, they say a core principle they have is this commitment to nonviolence, and it seems like that is the sentiment that you're hearing from folks out there on the ground too. Even behind you, I see this huge sign, this peace sign right behind you over your other shoulder, Sammy.
Yeah, I mean, that you see a lot of signs like this calling for peace. You have a lot of folks with signs that say immigrants are welcome here, and that is definitely something that the protest organizers and rally organizers, that's something that they're emphasizing. They want to make sure, I think I've even said, to avoid signs with sticks in them, because they don't want anyone to think that anyone's going to be using any weapons of some sort. So you see a lot of signs, a lot of folks that are handing out waters and checking on folks. It seems like people are prepared to be out here for a long, long while. And even though it's a little cold, there's some wind, overall people have said that they're just very happy to be here as well. So certainly a change in feeling that folks have. Overall, though, you still have that underlying feeling of anger and folks incredibly upset at what they're seeing going on in the nation, and upset at the things that they see their president doing and how it's impacting Minnesota. And so I think folks, they want to shed a light on the hope, but they also want to shed a light on some of the hardships that they say they're experiencing, that Minnesota is experiencing as well.
All right, Sammy, thank you very much for that insight. Let's go ahead and give you a live aerial look right now from Sky 11 out over the state capitol. As you can see, this is our Sky Cam, actually. Massive crowd already forming out there. We'll try to get back to that photo in just a minute. But again, this could be the biggest planned protest in the state's history. We've heard that from officials, from law enforcement. There are dozens of smaller protests are also happening across the state here in Minnesota, and organizers say there are more than 3,000 protests that are planned across the country today. These so-called No Kings rallies that are taking place across the U.S. Not only is this a protest, but we've heard from people on the ground as well as organizers of this event that it's being billed as a celebration of community. And there are some big names that are expected to speak and perform today, including Senator Bernie Sanders, Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar, Bruce Springsteen is expected to make an appearance as well. So this is certainly a major event, with the epicenter of it all happening at our state capitol here in St. Paul, Minnesota. There are folks who've traveled from across the state, even some from out of the state, to be here because this is being described as the main flagship rally by organizers, saying that this is sort of, as I said, the epicenter of all of these major protests that are happening across the country today. So we're going to go ahead and leave you with this live view of what we're seeing as these crowds continue to form. People continue marching from these smaller gathering spots that we've told you about across St. Paul as they make their way to the Capitol, with the official program set to begin at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We'll be right back. Are you?
about healing, joy, regenerating to continue to fight the work, and getting marching orders as we move ahead. And so, our first marching order, get out your phones. Get out your phones, because I'm going to say this a couple of times throughout this block. So I want you to text the word vote to 30319. What that will do is you're going to get plugged into the Election Protection Network, which is so crucial, and they'll call on you to monitor polling places, report voter suppression, and show up when it matters most, because democracy doesn't defend itself, but together we will. So, are you ready for some fun and for some inspiration? Let's get to it. First up, the dynamic chamber ensemble from the incredible Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus, directed by Gerald Gurris, is Borealis. They're gonna set our day with a song about struggle, resilience, and victory. The story of Minnesota, not over the last few months, but over the last year, and the story of who we are. Please welcome Borealis. And you can do better than that. Borealis, everybody!
Good afternoon, everybody. If you're just now joining us, thanks for being here as we stream live on KARE 11 Plus. I'm Raya Katane, and within the next hour, the Flagship No Kings rally is set to start at the Minnesota State Capitol. That's where we are taking a live picture right now. Organizers are telling us they expect as many as 100,000 people to show up today, and we just heard from the Borealis Ensemble with the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. Now, protesters are gathering at 3 different spots in St. Paul. That includes Harriet Island Regional Park, St. Paul College, and Western Sculpture Park. And from there, each group will be marching to the state capitol for that main rally that begins at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We do want to take you live to give you a live picture of what we're seeing as this crowd does begin to form at the Capitol. In fact, people have started showing up since quite early this morning from what we've heard from our crews on the ground. At around 8 o'clock or so, even people had already shown up. Traffic is set to be a headache if you're in that area. There are multiple roads and streets that are closed for the day, some just partially for the day, but we do have all of that information up on KARE11.com. This is expected to be a huge protest. It could be the biggest planned protest in the state's history. Organizers telling us there could be tens of thousands of people who show up, all the way up to perhaps 100,000 people. That is what they are expecting. So we do want to check in with our crews on the ground. Let's first begin with our Audrey Russo. Audrey, you have been witnessing this crowd that's marching from one of those gathering spots in St. Paul, and you've been speaking to some people on the ground too about some of their concerns and frustrations and the reason that they're out there today.
Yeah, I was with the Harriet Island Park group. You can see now they are making their way to the Capitol. They are crossing the bridge in pretty large numbers. We're right by the Intercontinental Hotel here in St. Paul by Wabasha Street. And yeah, a lot of these folks out here are telling me that they are here because they feel like this is the moment not only to protest what they feel is not going right within the country, but also to stand together and be united.